Alright. Please work. Please work. Oh my god. Alright, so let's just start from... Tell me then! Tell me what Clint really was! Lord Clint Van Zieks was too pure of heart. When he became a prosecutor and went in pursuit of the black roots of crime, he drove himself into a corner. He came to the uncomfortable realization that to fight the most fiendish of criminals requires one to become even more fiendish oneself. Clint. The 19th century was a truly miraculous 100 years for Great Britain, and indeed, the whole world. New industry, new technology, and with the birth of the Metropolitan Police Service, new law and order. But these dazzling new developments meant ever deeper shadows were cast on society. Water sullied by factories, air thick with noxious fumes and crime, grown daily to fill the darkness. Lord Clint Van Zieks made it his mission to combat that darkness. But as time went on, it slowly ate at his soul, until eventually he was consumed. It's ironic, really, and somewhat surprising that the truth has once again been unearthed by a Japanese. Once again? What do you mean? 10 years ago, your father, Genshin Asogi, turned up at my office one night. The professor! Yes, beyond all shadow of a doubt. You must issue a warrant to search his home at once. Don't be absurd. The man comes from one of our country's most illustrious families. He's a paragon of justice here in the capital. Yes, that's the point. That's why none of you British can see it. He's using his noble status as a diversion, whilst he commits these atrocious crimes behind the scenes. Do you have evidence? Nothing definitive as yet. But he keeps an enormous, savage hound on the estate. We need the full support of the judiciary for this. We're up against a member of the aristocracy. So a large family estate has a fierce guard dog. You should know that's commonplace here in Britain. I'm sorry, but I can't possibly put Scotland Yard onto this based on the tenuous accusation of a visiting student. Is it working at least? I hope it's working. So I turned down Asogi's plea. All good, all good. Hopefully it stays that way. So I turned down Asogi's plea, and as a result, he took it upon himself to visit the Van Zieks mansion on his own. We can only imagine now what happened between the two men. Though we know the outcome, of course. Lord Clint Van Zieks perished. I don't believe this. So, in actual fact, Kazuma-sama's father did. He made the late Lord Van Zieks meet the same fate. He put a permanent end to the professor killings by taking the drastic measure of ending the perpetrator's life. As soon as I heard, I hurried to the mansion. When I arrived, it was easy to grasp what had happened. And what about the will? Asogi must have already taken it. Nothing of that nature was found at the scene. We had no idea of the existence of such a document at that time. I object. I was the only person who knew of the true identity of the professor. So, I resolved to keep it a secret, and to guard the secret to the bitter end. So you're admitting to it? That you were behind it all? It was you, then, who pinned the crimes on my father. I did what needed to be done in order to protect the law and order of the British Empire. Even if that meant employing an unforgivable ruse. Then it was you who arranged this fabricated evidence. I ordered that detective to take care of it, whilst keeping the truth from him, naturally. Gregson? Obviously, he opposed me at first. Are you off your rocker? You can't do something like that. There's no question that it was Asogi who murdered Lord Van Zieks. The house staff have made statements that they saw the man running from the mansion that night. Yes, well, I've no doubt it was that Japanese fella. But we haven't got a shred of conclusive evidence against the man. And worse than that, he doesn't keep a dog, so we're short of a murder weapon to boot. And we're short on time, Gregson. We must put a stop to this man's rampage, for the good of the country. So we'll use whatever means necessary. Do I make myself clear, detective? Blimey. So that night 10 years ago, when I was attacked by those thugs in the back streets, and Genshin's ring was taken, that was him, was it? That was Gregson and some hired help? Then the detective handed the stolen ring to Dr. Wilson, who feigned its discovery from the victim's stomach during that autopsy. And in the light of that decisive evidence, Mr. Asogi was found guilty of the charges brought against him. However, behind the scenes, he had actually already struck a deal with his accusers, in which he agreed to silently accept the charges. But I just don't believe that part. As far as I knew the man, my father despised such underhand dealings. It was extremely easy to make him comply. You see, he had one crippling weakness. What weakness? Isn't it obvious? You, Kazuma Asogi. Me? Perhaps you have no desire to return to your homeland, Asogi. What? Though I hear you have a 14-year-old son. Agree to cooperate and accept your guilt without contention. And you will see Japan and your son again. You scoundrel! Whether you choose wisely or not, it will be a closed trial by order of Her Majesty. So whatever rash claims you might make in court, will have no trouble in stifling them. There's only one outcome for you, Asogi. The gallows. Don't forget that I still have a weapon at my disposal. A document revealing a truth that I know you're desperate to keep hidden. Yes, it hadn't escaped my mind, which is the only reason I'm willing to bargain with you. I only want to protect this country's law and order, you understand? So, what's it to be, Asogi? Kazuma. He did it for me? And as I told him at the time, my motive was simply to protect Britain from the damage the truth would do. To protect this country's law and order at any cost.
Objection!
I've never dared to let myself even consider this possibility until now. But in the light of all this treachery, I have to ask. The mastermind behind the Reaper of the Bailey. Was it you? Lord Miles Strongheart. A rather brilliant idea, wouldn't you say, Lord Baroque von Zeeks? That the spirit of your late brother, that paragon of justice, should return to reap justice for his sibling. Could there be a more appetizing tale for London's masses, I ask you? What? What brazen? I knew that you'd play the part to perfection, but your role really wasn't that of some embodiment of death. No, you were London's guardian angel. An angel with bloody hands? I think not. Those who had cooperated with me already were only too happy to participate in my plan. Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson. My minions worked tirelessly to ensure that the finger of guilt could never come to rest on you. It's all thanks to them that you were exalted as the demigod the Reaper became. Dr. Wilson left Britain 4 years ago when he was invited to work in Japan. That's right. So I had to employ the services of his young protege after that. Dr. Courtney Scythe. Dr. Scythe? So, what with the execution of the Professor and the subsequent reign of the Reaper of the Bailey, I successfully safeguarded law and order in our mighty capital for the past decade. That is everything. So he's guilty. Throw the book at him. My lords, ladies, and gentlemen, I do hereby confess, it was I who sired the concept of the Reaper. However, let me say in my defense, it was all for the preservation of law and order across the entire empire. Lord Strongheart did it? An unforgivable collection of crimes, but still, all those who died at the Reaper's hands were rotten to the core anyway. It was all in aid of keeping London safe. There is no one left now who can reveal the precise truth of what happened 10 years ago. Therefore, this trial can go no further. Now, I would like to entreat all those present. Beyond these 4 walls, nobody need know the truth. Even Her Majesty must be protected from this. I trust you all appreciate the importance of my request. It is, of course, for the good of the country. Not gonna like it when his favorite show gets canceled. Can he do this? Can the trial really end now?
Hold it!
I have one last question. For the accused, Lord Van Zeeks. What? Of course, I know that you're a highly accomplished prosecutor, so I find it hard to believe that you didn't have any doubts at all. That you never suspected your older brother. Yes, the same thought occurred to me. God, I love this track. It was only once, but yes, I couldn't say that I never had my doubts. My brother's sense of justice was extremely strong. Perhaps too strong, I observed. At that time, there were members of the aristocracy who were bleeding the country dry for their own gain. And since they were nobles, they were untouchable. For my brother, it was a source of great turmoil. And coincidentally, at the same time, the Professor began his terrifying reign. During the time of the Professor killings, my brother did not appear to be himself. And that made you suspect? Yes. But it was only once, not more. Only once? Really? Clint wasn't the culprit. That was my conclusion at the time. And I still believe that now. Do you have any evidence to support that idea? The third victim was the Lord Chief Justice at the time. It was he who had recognized my brother's potential and trained him as a prosecutor. No matter what the circumstances, it's unthinkable that my brother could have killed his friend and mentor. That will do. Neither Clint Van Zieks nor Genshin Asogi still walk this earth. However much we debate this matter now, we cannot hope to reach a conclusion. But... There are only two extant pieces of evidence from the time. The woebegone ring that acted as the incriminating evidence to condemn Genshin Asogi, and the 3-paged last will and testament penned in black ink and left behind by the man. There's only 2 pages here! Buddy! Buddy! Objection! Fucking objection! The wretched truth of what happened is exactly as I have explained. Slam your hand! Bang the gavel! No! Objection! Later today, I will present myself at the Ministry of Justice for whatever sanction is deemed appropriate. That is all. Court is adjourned.
Objection!
Thank you. Thank you, Cosma. Me? If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have made this 11th hour discovery. What discovery? My lord, I'm afraid I must insist that the trial continues. I beg your pardon. As the court has been reminded today already, we must stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth. And to that end, one particular statement made by somebody in this courtroom moments ago revealed a very subtle contradiction. What contradiction? But all I did was ask the accused one simple question. Well, it began with Lord Van Zieks and his recollection about his brother, but Lord Strongheart didn't permit the defendant to speak at length. I merely pointed out that we can draw no further useful conclusions here, so where on earth is the contradiction? One of them definitely just said something contradictory. It's time to identify who. It was Lord Strongheart. I'm sure of it. Something he said was slightly off. Come on, Ryunosuke. Think back over his words. Find the problem! Neither Clint Van Zieks nor Genshin Asogi still walk this earth. However much we debate this matter now, we cannot hope to reach a conclusion. There are only 2 extant pieces of evidence from the time. The woebegone ring that acted as the incriminating evidence to condemn Genshin Asogi, and the 3-paged last will and testament, penned in black ink and left behind by the man. Lord Strongheart, would you care to explain? Explain what, Counsel? Among the statements you made just a few moments ago, something you said was inconsistent with a certain piece of evidence we have. Inconsistent? And whilst an inconsistency remains, the defense has a right to pursue an explanation. Ryunosuke, what? Let me warn you about the statements you are making, Counsel. They may very well prove fatal. You claim my words contained a contradiction. With which piece of evidence, I ask you?
Take that!
This here is the will left behind by Mr. Asogi. The 2-paged will. What? Yet moments ago, your precise words were the 3-paged last will and testament. Could it be that originally there was a 3rd page? For a moment I thought perhaps you'd identified something worthwhile. but it's a mere trifle I see. A trifle? Governor Kaiden! What can I do for you, sir? You were present when the Japanese man penned his last will and testament. I was there for sure. I remember the black Wormlek scrolls to this day. And I'm quite certain, my lord, that there was a third page at the time. What? Only the first 2 pages were the actual will, though. If I mind correctly, the third was a message to his lad back in Japan. For legal purposes, we required only his will. And we would not have wanted any uncomfortable words about Britain to get back to Japan, eh? So it was decided that the third page ought not to be sent.
Objection!
How dare you make that decision? I had a right to know what it said, to hear my father's final words to me. The courtroom is no place for sentimentality, counsel. As it happens, I have the third page of the document with me here now. My father's message. It will be given to you at the end of these proceedings. It'll be too late once the trial is over. We need to know what it says now. Even the slightest thing may give us a vital clue. My lord, the defense calls for Genshin Asogi's last words to his son to be read out loud before the court now. Your request is denied. The inevitably maudlin words can be of no consequence now.
Objection!
The prosecution agrees. The court should know the contents of that message. Every possible piece of evidence must be thoroughly examined. Very well then, Governor Kaiden. You will read the third page of the document for all present to hear. Yes, sir. Only, I should point out, my lord, that I cannot actually read Wyrm language. This beautiful handwriting. Shame on you, Barry. Sorry. I thought it was going to be Shomans for a second, but no, it's Yujin Mikotoba. Well, shame, Barry. If I could be of assistance here, I would be happy to translate the words into English for the court. Father? You're still here, are you, Dr. Mikotoba? Naturally. I consider myself a member of the judiciary, albeit a lowly one. But perhaps I should quietly withdraw after I've translated Genshin's message. Your cooperation is much appreciated. Eat a brick. Kazuma, the truth is shrouded in darkness. A darkness only our clan's great sword can pierce. Mighty Karma, twist thy head and watch them fall. All thy mortal foes. That's the end of the message, it would seem. A haiku poem? Twist thy head. Father, what is Karma? The name of the Asogi clan's famous sword. A razor-sharp blade known to all, passed down for generations. It embodies the Japanese spirit. It's not known to me. It's the katana sword that was submitted as evidence earlier in these proceedings. The one worn by the prosecution counsel when he confronted Inspector Gregson. All these procrastinations are beginning to try my patience. Adjournment of this court is long overdue. But, twist the head. Let me twist the head. Mighty Karma, twist thy head and watch them fall. All thy mortal foes. That's the proper way to use the sword, is it? Maybe I should try it. It hurts my neck, that's the trouble. Mr. Naruhodo, if I might make a suggestion, I think perhaps it doesn't mean your head. Oh. I once studied the history and development of the katana some time ago, and as I'm sure you're probably aware, the sword's head is at the part of the very end of the hilt. It's written as head in Japanese, but it's pronounced as kashira, I believe. Kashira? So Mr. Asogi's words really means, twist the butt of the hilt. You don't think... See ya, Sora. Have fun. Look what's inside it. is that a tightly wound sheet of parchment? Scarlet ink. It's written in scarlet ink! I penned this, my last will and testament, in the final moments before my inevitable and willing death. This is it, isn't it? Mr. Naruhodo, look at the signature at the end! Clint Van Zieks. And the date. 10 years ago, on that fateful night! So for 10 years, it's been silently concealed inside Karma, and nobody knew. The last will and testament of Lord Clint Van Zieks! Holy shit. Wait. Oh my goodness. Look at this. This is unbelievable. As the presiding judge, I have been as accommodating as possible of the will of the courtroom. However, despite all that, no new information has come to light. Objection. Objection! In pursuit of justice, Lord Clint Van Zieks tragically lost all sense of morality. When he murdered his former mentor, clearly he was already devoid of his normal faculties.
Objection!
How dare you! I refuse to believe that of my brother! Too much time has passed. We cannot ever hope to know more than we do now. Especially since the alleged will that he penned in his final moments appears to have been lost forever. Ugh! Lord Strongheart, you appear to be in something of a hurry to wrap things up. I wonder why. We've heard you state time and again during these proceedings that everything you did was in the interests of protecting British law and order. And I stand by that. Without the Reaper, we could never have achieved the reduction in crime the capital has seen.
Objection!
What about Inspector Gregson, then? And Dr. Wilson? They were no criminals. You used them to achieve your ends, and then you had them killed. However you dress it up, there was nothing fair or just about that. Lord Strongheart, what exactly is it that you're hiding? Dr. Mikotoba, will you not quietly withdraw after the translation of your former associate's will? In this courtroom, no argument carries weight unless it is supported by evidence. And it would seem that the defense has no more evidence to present. Objection. In which case, I hereby order all discourse from these proceedings to be struck from the record. This is my last chance. Mr. Naruhodo, I have to present some decisive evidence now, or it's all over. But can I? Wait, my lord. As it happens, the defense does have evidence to present. What? Don't be absurd. There's nothing of relevance remaining from the time.
Objection!
It's high time that you realize something, my lord. This gentleman has an uncanny habit of producing evidence at the final hour that had escaped everyone else's attention. Nonsense. What is it, Ryunosuke? What do you have? God, I love this track too. I dare say, the final, decisive piece of evidence that will reveal the whole truth about this rotten tale. How? How can you... Decisive? Well, it would appear there's no escaping it now, my lord. Let it be so, then. Present whatever you think you have that can settle this decade-old enigma. if you're capable. What exactly is this evidence that the defense claims to be so decisive?
Take that!
There's a single piece of evidence that can clarify what really happened 10 years ago. The last will and testament of Lord Clint Van Zieks. Ha! A wonderfully astute observation. Sorry, I completely lost my voice there. 1 second. Ha! A wonderfully astute observation, I'm sure. But in case it had escaped your notice, a document was lost long ago. That's right, it was. Only, I have it right here. Discovered just moments ago. Impossible! That can't be! Everything that's happened comes back to this will. This document is the key that will unlock the entire mystery. Ah! The kahunas! The cojones! The sheer testicular fortitude of the man! My brother's last will and testament! Where did you find that? It was rolled up inside this. Inside Karma? That ultimate weapon Genshin Asogi has lain undisturbed in the hilt of his sword all these years, just waiting for the right time to emerge and reveal the truth. The signature and seal certainly look official. My God, it's true. It's my brother's handwriting. There can be no mistake. I forbid the contents of that document from being read out. Do you hear me? I strictly forbid it.
Objection!
You can't do that, my lord. This document could explain everything. That document could literally destroy the meaning of justice in this country. I demand that you hand it to me at once! Why? What are you trying to hide? Could it be that you already know what's written on this page? What are you implying? Court is adjourned with immediate effect. Clear the courtroom!
Objection!
Leg. Do that, my lord, and you'll suffer a fatal blow as Lord Chief Justice. I beg your pardon? Forcibly ending a trial without good reason. And not any trial. A closed trial by order of Her Majesty the Queen. To defy the monarch's will is treason. Ugh. Lord Clint Van Zieks really did pen a will that day. It's exactly as the young Japanese man said. Read it out, now! We have a right to hear what's in that will. A right and a duty. Well, well, my lord. It would rather appear as though proceedings aren't going to go quite as you'd hoped. You fools! Go ahead, Ryunosuke. Read it. The prosecution gives its full support. Very well, then. No. For God's sake. No! I can't stop you, but the Queen can. I pen this, my last will and testament, in the final moments before my inevitable and willing death. The hour is 11 p.m., and I sit at my writing desk in my office. My good friend Asogi stands at my shoulder. He has expressed his intent to invoke the dying ritual of the duel, that I may depart this world with honor, an honor of which I am utterly undeserving. The Japanese are a truly merciful people. I, Clint Van Zieks, Lord of the Manor of the Van Zieks Estate, hereby confess to the following. I am the killer who has come to be known in society as the Professor, guilty of 4 counts of murder. I will not here discourse the corruption rife among the aristocracy, which is to me, as one of them, so apparent. However, 6 months ago I took the life of a member of the House of Lords at the heart of the depravity. A demon who habitually sacrificed the common man to further his own interests, abusing his position of power. The law is impotent against such vile avarice. Only a fellow demon can rid society of this menace. That demon was my quarry, upon whom I willingly set my great hound. But though I am a hunter of some experience, I am a poor felon, it seems. I mean, that's just how the Asogis rock, you know? My guilt was at once recognized by another, and I became subject to his extortion. He held over me the threat of exposing my wicked crime to my beloved wife and brother. Under that threat, I have done this man's bidding for months now, killing those he demanded I kill. Oh, fuck. As I watched my former mentor perish before my eyes, with the jaws of the hound I commanded, I realized that I had lost the last shred of decency within me, and sunk to the level of a wild beast. There's no path back to the light. Be it I or my dear friend Asogi who dies this night, I am eternally damned. To my extortioner, Miles Strongheart, may you feel the jaws of the beast at your throat every time you swallow. It just goes deeper! He's not only the Reaper of the Bailey, he's the Professor too! What the fuck? Holy shit. Level 50 conspiracy. So now we know. Yes, Clint Van Zieks was a murderer. But somebody was directing him and naming his victims. His extortioner, Lord Miles Strongheart. It was you! Lord Strongheart, a moment ago, you claimed that what the court had just heard could destroy justice in this country. But you weren't trying to protect justice at all. All you were trying to do was conceal the secret of your true nature and the countless lives you've sacrificed up till now. It just didn't make sense to me. The third victim, the former Lord Chief Justice, was my brother's benefactor, and a man of lofty principles. As I said, Clint had no possible reason to kill the man. But you did, didn't you, Lord Strongheart? To eliminate the man who stood between you and the office you'd set your sights on. So you used your own hunting dog, Lord Clint Van Zieks, to take him down. It had to be done. London's unsavory shadows are deep, and the arm of the law fails to reach their depths. Crime must be cut off at the roots. The Lord Chief Justice at the time couldn't see that. He was weak. Lofty principles, you say. Tantamount to cowardice, if you ask me. Which is why I took his place, in order to fight the crime he was allowing to spread like wildfire. By murdering the man, the Reaper, the Professor, the name makes no difference. As I've explained countless times already, it was all done for the furtherance of law and order in London.
Objection!
Are you going to legitimize the murder of my father now, too? Ah, Genshin Asogi. Well, that was unfortunate. I had fully intended to send him back to Japan as we'd agreed. I don't believe you. It was you, wasn't it? You killed him! No, it wasn't me who took your father's life. Then who? On the night following his mock execution, I went to Lowgate Cemetery at 3 in the morning with Jigoku. Judge Jigoku? There had to be a collaborator on the Japanese side to manage Asogi's treatment after his repatriation. Jigoku had fierce ambition. It made him easy to manipulate. 10 years ago, after he'd stood trial for the destruction of the witness stand, I had words with him. When I told him the position of Minister of Foreign Affairs could be his, he couldn't agree fast enough. Seishiro, you fool! As you know, Asogi escaped the prison in a closed casket and was subsequently interred. We intended to dig him out of his grave before he ran out of air. Sadly, all did not go to plan. Ah! There was an unexpected visitor to the cemetery with his own idea about digging up graves. A man who witnessed what nobody was supposed to see. Enoch Drebber. Of course, I knew grave robbers frequented London cemeteries. That grave on that particular night... Blast! If people find out the convict wasn't really executed, the scandal will rock the very foundations of the Empire! Then what do we do? Shoot him, Mr. Jigoku! Shoot Asogi at once! He can't live now that this happened! He has to go! What are you talking about? You had an agreement! You promised him he could return to Japan! Everything has changed now. If the truth got out because of this, both of us would be finished. Forever! Come on, Jigoku! Do it! Pull the trigger! Shoot! You motherfucker. Jigoku shot Asogi from the shadows. The grave robber was so close, the blood sprayed over his coat. He fled as fast as his legs would carry him. Then Jigoku and I put Asogi's body back in the grave from which he'd just emerged. When I later learned of the waxwork modeler's presence at the scene as well, I made her swear to two things. Never to remove the professor's mask, and never to speak of the events of that night. Not only is he a bastard, he's lily-livered too, man. Fucking hate this guy, I hate him so much. And with that, the secret was buried along with Asogi's corpse. So, now you know what really happened in Lowgate Cemetery that night. How many crimes are we going to pin on this man? Let's keep going. It was Jigoku, your Japanese acquaintance, who'd killed Asogi in the end, you see. Exactly. He claimed to be the man's friend, but when push came to shove, he pulled the trigger. Just before Mr. Jigoku left the courtroom earlier, he said that the assassin exchange proposal was a demand from his British counterpart, not a request. So you coerced him too? Using what happened in the graveyard? By that time, Jigoku was the Minister of Foreign Affairs, negotiating international treaties with Britain. You can imagine what would have happened if it came to light he murdered a compatriot 10 years earlier. He would have lost everything. I merely reminded him of that. How do you sleep at night? These past 10 years, I fought tirelessly with the darker recesses of London's criminal underworld. And I've used whatever means necessary to ensure that justice prevails and law and order remain supreme.
Objection!
That couldn't be further from the truth. The fact is, you haven't fought crime at all. How dare you! I saved Clint Van Zieks from dishonor in his death.
Objection!
Whilst behind the scenes, you systematically buried anyone who stood in your way. And then you made my father take the blame. It was unavoidable. It was the only way to protect our justice system and public order. Let's not forget the others you had killed as well. setting the defendant up as the Reaper to cover up the truth behind the murders of countless more. That's enough! Do you have any idea of the conniving that led to the acquittals of these wretched criminals? We have to fight fire with fire. Our courts can't function without a Reaper. Can't you see all I've done for this country? This has been my struggle.
Objection!
You've done nothing. It's Lord Van Zeeksheers who worked tirelessly and justly in court while enduring the disgrace of the Reaper name. And Inspector Gregson, fraught with anguish for having sullied his hands through a desire to do the right thing. Not to mention Genshin Asogi, who risked his life going in pursuit of the truth you tried to hide. No, the darker recesses of London underworld were largely filled by you. You little... When will you get it through your thick skulls? That it was all for Queen and country? I'm tiring of that excuse. You've consistently twisted the truth for bargaining power to make others do your bidding. Nothing more. People who willingly twist the truth and coerce others have no right to call themselves part of the Holy crap, I can't speak. People who willingly twist the truth and coerce others have no right to call themselves part of the judiciary. I strongly suggest you don't ever talk of justice again. Gah. Gah. Case again, so heated logic can't speak words. I know, right? Wait a minute, I'm the judge in this case. I don't have to do anything. Oh shit, he's clapping like McGilded. Well, 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 dear me, my good fellows, dear me. A well-deserved round of applause, I think, for quite a marvelous performance. What are you talking about? Those delightfully grave expressions! That beautifully pronounced Queen's English! I don't know, I'm not doing a very good job of it. Really, our friends from the Far East are quite the picture of industriousness. You fraud! Keep your mockery! Please, don't misunderstand. It really is exactly as you've both said. What are you trying to say? I have occupied the deeper recesses of London's underworld and... How did you put it? Done nothing? I confess it's a little embarrassing to have it pointed out quite so starkly. But yes, I really have done nothing. Which means... I can be indicted for nothing. No? What? It's true. Personally, I have committed no crime. I've merely been surrounded by fools who've acted very rashly indeed.
Objection!
You can't get away with that. You've consistently preyed on people's weaknesses. And what? Threatened them? Are you sure it wasn't just bargaining? I would like to address all the good lords, ladies, and gentlemen of the judiciary here present. You all know of these darker recesses in our great capital, and deep down I believe you also know that to fight those who dwell there requires at least some of us to occupy the darkness ourselves. So let me appeal to your good sense now. Consider the situation with me. If this catalogue of horrifying revelations were to become common knowledge among the 6 million inhabitants of London, what might happen? To learn that the infamous murderer of royals and nobles was a respected member of the aristocracy himself? That evidence was fabricated in the scapegoat's trial amid secret negotiations with prosecutors to effect a jailbreak? That the Reaper of the Bailey was an organized group of assassins managed by a Scotland Yard inspector? And finally, That it was all masterminded by the Lord Chief Justice himself? If the general public of Britain knew the truth, all faith in the police and the prosecutor's office would be completely lost, without doubt. Public order in the capital would completely break down. We'd be cast back to the lawless days of the last century. Precisely as it was 100 years ago when 1 in 10 of the population were criminals. Think what we've accomplished since then. A public policing force, a comprehensive set of laws. And if we want to continue to protect this new era of law and order, I say again, we must at times occupy the darkness ourselves. We have successfully identified and apprehended the man responsible for taking Inspector Gregson's life. That is all that was expected of this trial. All these other matters that have been discussed will be eliminated from the minutes of these proceedings in the interests of preserving law and order, and to protect Her Majesty the Queen, of course. Well, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, what say you? God damn. Is this really gonna work? He has a point. The Lord thinks Lord Strongheart has done it quite unforgivable. But on the other hand, isn't it our duty to maintain law and order in the capital? You can't deny that the Thread the Reaper over the years has done wonders for the crime rate. And by fair means or foul, that's all thanks to Lord Strongheart. Damn it. Damn it. Come on, guys. Fight this. Fight this with everything you've got. Are you hearing this? This is the will of the British judiciary? For your rousing response, friends, I express my heartfelt gratitude. Therefore, in accordance with the overwhelming wishes of the court, the records shall be erased. Yeah, I think it's Queen Victoria. Queen Elizabeth isn't quite old enough to have been around in 1900. You have to respect the man's ability to turn a situation to his favor. Lord Strongheart really is a master of manipulation. You've conclusively proven his guilt, yet still he manages to evade justice. I just don't know what we can do. Ryunosuke. It looks like the trial really is going to come to an end now. I'm almost out of options, I think. Nah, we got one option left, guys. There's really only one path left open to me. Yes, as I know only too well, the only thing that carries any weight in court is hard evidence. But, Mr. Naruhodo, what evidence is there to use at this stage in the trial? I have an idea. I don't know whether anything will come of it, but if there was ever a time for using this particular item we have among the evidence, it's now. Save us, Sherlock! I mean, Herlock. Oh my, yes! Mr. Sholmes asked if you had that with you earlier! We've exposed all of Lord Strongheart's wrongdoing now. I've no doubt that Mr. Sholmes had already deduced exactly how the truth would unfurl. So, I think it must be time for the great detective to take center stage, don't you? Yes, absolutely. Let's take the hair by the ears then, and heave! Alright, here goes. Heave! Ow, 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 ow! My dear fellows, must I remind you every time, a gentle tug will suffice. Mr. Sholmes, you're looking quite the wrong direction, Mr. Naruhodo, because I'm over here. Mr. Naruhodo, he's... Nani? What? It's Mr. Sholmes! I wasn't expecting you back, Sholmes. Delighted to be here again, Lord Strongheart. What is the meaning of this? Bailiff, seize him! Put the man in irons! This is a closed court! You have been warned once already, man! What the? We can't get hold of him, my lord. We just go right through him! What the fuck? Harebraine's invention is literally impossible, but also I invented holograms, and I'm just gonna let this happen for a bit. I'm afraid your efforts are wasted. You see, the great detective you see before you is composed entirely of light and shadow. An image, if you will. Mr. Naruhodo, I must congratulate you on your fine deductions. Mr. Sholmes, what on earth is... Are you familiar, I wonder, with the invention known as the telephone? Well, yes, I hear that some public telephones have been installed recently in Tokyo. The sound of the speaker's voice is converted to an electrical signal and transmitted instantly to another place. Quite. Sounds are transmitted. So could not images keep them company, I'm mused. Iris and I did some modest experimentation to develop such a device specifically for this very day. Modest experimentation, Mr. Sholmes? What a modest description! And somewhat incidentally, I thought we might just as well transmit an entire scene. Somewhat incidentally, Mr. Sholmes, now you're just being immodest. Do you mean to say, you're not actually here, Sholmes? Ah, I knew my trusty partner would have no trouble grasping the concept. I mean, it does make me want to jump up and shout yes. Except he's grasping the stand to steady himself after your shock arrival. Poor father. I would have hoped he might have been forewarned, being the great detective's great partner. Leave my courtroom at once! Get out! Or I swear to you. Dear me. You, on the other hand, Lord Strongheart, appear to have a very poor grasp of the situation. Allow me to reiterate. I am not here, which would, I hope, lead naturally to one asking, where exactly are you? The very question I was awaiting. I am at present enjoying the air in a rather splendid garden. A garden? Not just any garden, you understand. A garden at Buckingham Palace. What? You can't be... Buckingham Palace? What's Buckingham Palace, Mr. Zato? I've never heard of it. Do you ever read the news, Mr. Naruhodo? Mr. Sholmes, is Iris with you there? Ah, well now. Iris is currently enjoying some tea. With Her Majesty. Her Majesty? Not just any Her Majesty, you understand. Her Majesty, the Queen of the British Empire. What? What? What on earth is this all about? Buckingham Palace is Her Majesty the Queen's residence in London, Mr. Naruhodo. Order! Order in court! I demand immediate silence! Her Majesty the Queen! You can't be... I mean, no! This is some sort of unforgivably distasteful trickery by a third-rate detective! That's all! Unforgivably distasteful trickery? What an apt description. A closed court session attended by elite members of the judiciary is a rare event. I presume that Her Majesty would be more than a little curious about the proceedings. So I decided to show her everything from start to finish. You showed her? Indeed. By dint of the Herlock Sholmes remote cinematograph. You meddling. This is some kind of nightmare. Just as I appear to be standing before you, regaling you with talk of my latest invention. No doubt you've inferred that the reverse is also true. You don't mean... Her Majesty has seen and heard every moment of the proceedings. I assume there would be no objection. After all, every trial in this country is conducted under the auspices of Her Majesty, as you know. You! I confess, I am quite impatient to hear Her Majesty's opinion about the unforgivably distasteful trickery in which you've been engaged over the past 10 years. No, I was merely...
Oh, so sorry to keep you all waiting. Vicky and I had so much to talk about.
Iris, there you are. Only Iris could get away with calling the queen Vicky.
In fact, I have a little message here from Her Majesty.
A message? Well then, if everyone is sitting comfortably. Oh, I love how you just stole it from Iris's hands. Forthwith and with immediate effect, all authority previously afforded to Miles Strongheart is hereby revoked forevermore. Furthermore, he will be prosecuted for crimes against his country in a public trial by jury in the coming days. So, it seems that Her Majesty doesn't believe we need to fight fire with fire. Justice in this country needn't be administered from the shadows at all. Miles Strongheart. The darkness you fostered to conceal your despicable actions these last 10 years is a thing of the past now. After today, your brand of law and order has no future, because no longer are you the Lord Chief Justice. In the eyes of the law and of Her Majesty the Queen, you are nothing but a criminal. Adjourned! 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 Court is adjourned! Ouch. Guys, we set the Old Bailey on fire. Maybe we should put it out. What the hell? Holy... That was... Fuck. Lord Clint Van Zieks left a will in which he confessed to everything. When those words came out of Asogi's mouth, it deranged me completely. I knew I must do anything and everything in my power to contain the situation. But I couldn't find the damn document. I searched his cell, but it wasn't there. Which precipitated the jailbreak plot, I presume. What do you mean? The need to obtain that will was all-consuming. I was sure that if I facilitated Asogi's escape, he would emerge with the will somewhere on his person. Despite searching his limp body in the cemetery that night, it still eluded me. It never even crossed my mind that it was concealed in the sword's hilt. What pains me now is that my brother left this world without a word to me. I'm sorry, Lord Van Zieks. In point of fact, I think perhaps that isn't the case. Sorry? How can that be? There is more to his last will and testament. What? Well, lost in the whole dramatic stuff that was going on there was more to this will, apparently. As I confront the prospect of my demise, I feel bitter regret for my younger brother. Baroque, you have always looked up to me. Now you follow in my footsteps to become a prosecutor. It is my fervent wish that my unspeakable deed should not hinder your advancement. I ask not for understanding, for none could understand my depravity. I ask only for forgiveness.
Asogi is a fine detective and a hunter worthy of respect. He has agreed to honor my final 2 wishes. The first is that this document survives. The second, I cannot commit to paper. I have confessed my sins to my wife. May she find resolution in my death. With my eternal gratitude to my Japanese friend, I rest my quill. Clint Van Zieks. Clint. Miles Strongheart, you colluded with Seishiro Jigoku in a criminal plot so immense it spanned the oceans. And you cold-heartedly murdered all those who knew the truth about what happened 10 years ago. But why did you set about that now, a whole decade later? To ascend to the very peak. These last 10 years made me realize being the Lord Chief Justice wasn't enough. Short of becoming Her Majesty's Attorney General, I could have no real power to effect the changes needed in this country. And for that promotion, I needed to ensure no remnants of the past remained. How could you? I like everything to run smoothly, in the exact manner that I prescribe, like a well-oiled machine. And I was just a step away. And for your ambition to succeed, did you even bother to count the number of brilliant people you had killed? Ah, Mr. Reaper, are you not forgetting something? Such as, you very much adopted your usual prosecutor-like demeanor in the proceedings now. But the reality of the situation is that you are the defendant in this trial. However, the presiding judge would appear to have fallen from the bench, as it were. May I suggest, therefore, that we entrust the final adjudication to an old friend? My lord! As a member of the judiciary, I've been following the proceedings from the gallery. And I must say, I shan't ever forget the extraordinary battle between good and evil that I witnessed here today. The darkness that has blighted justice in our land these past 10 years has at last been dispelled, thanks in no small part to the efforts of a bright young star from the east. Defense Counsel Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. On behalf of everyone here present in the Old Bailey, I give you my heartfelt thanks. You're too kind, my lord. The first time I faced you in court, just under a year ago now, I had the faintest of intimations that if British justice, so warped and twisted over its long history, was finally to know change. This might just be the man to do it. What? But at the time, I wouldn't allow myself to acknowledge the possibility. I couldn't overcome my hatred of the Japanese after the circumstances of my brother's death. Mr. Naruhodo, allow me to apologize for countless discourtesies on my part. You are a lawyer of boundless talent. Oh, Lord Van Zieks, take me in your big strong arms. Squeeze me like your hallowed chalices, Clint Van Zieks, or bearer. Holy fuck, I am so sauced right now, I'm sorry. I'm not even sauced, I'm just, wow, I'm blown away by all this. When I first arrived in Great Britain, I was literally a nobody. Certainly not a lawyer. The truth is, my fortunes have entirely been made by the miraculous people I've met. My best friend, Kazuma Asogi, who led me here to Britain in the first place. My loyal and ever-patient judicial assistant, Miss Suzato, who helped me study to become a lawyer. The brilliant Lord Van Zieks, who never failed to challenge his Nipponese rival. And, not to mention, the exceptional master of logic and reasoning, who showed me the true art of deduction, Mr. Sholmes. Saving the best for last, Mr. Naruhodo! What a relief. I'm well aware that without all these people's help and support, I wouldn't be where I am today. The truth is a guiding light that always leads to happiness. I've lived by that principle for a long time now, but actually, it's not true. The truth can also cause great pain, sometimes even leave people on the brink of despair. And for that reason, there are those who feel the need to hide the truth, who do it instinctively even. But as soon as we allow our eyes to settle on something other than the truth, the darkness takes hold. And from there it grows, until eventually it makes us blind to the guiding light of the truth altogether. So that's why it's my belief that we must all resolve never to avert our eyes from what is just and true. So that we can continue to walk the straight and narrow path ahead. Well, I must excuse myself now. But before I go, Mr. Naruhodo, let me compliment you on your grand opus. What? Without your beautifully composed case against Lord Strongheart, Your Majesty would have been unable to act. Thanks to you and your fellows, the haunting undertones corrupting Britain's justice system have been silenced. Thank you very much. So, until our paths again cross. Cross again somewhere. Well then, it would appear that this long trial has finally come to an end. My apologies for any anxiety caused, my lord. I'm quite sure we shall meet again here in the courtroom before long, Prosecutor Baroque von Zieks. In conclusion of these proceedings, I hereby declare the defendant, Baroque von Zieks. Man, that was so good. This trial was so good. Oh my god. Oh, I love it. That is all. Court is adjourned. For real this time. 4:21 p.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. It really is all over. But did I sacrifice too much? Mr. Naruhodo? I really must congratulate you. It was a truly splendid performance. Yeah, nightmare's over for both of them. And don't think I didn't miss the part where Cosma acknowledged Baroque van Zieks as an excellent prosecutor. I was just like, wow. Floored. Love it. Honestly, I couldn't be happier for you. Oh, thank you very much. But I really couldn't have done it without you at my side through it all, Miss Susato. Oh. Your kind words mean so much to me. It really was a very splendid show, that, Naruhodo. I'd have thought you'd be smiling from ear to ear, but you look rather glum. Well, of course I'm delighted about the verdict, but in exposing the truth, I'm afraid I've caused my client a great deal of pain. I'm really not sure that's what a lawyer ought to be doing. Oh, well, in that case, I'm quite sure that when you see Lord van Zieks' smiling face, everything will seem much better. Man, look at that smile. Picture of happiness right there. Miss Susato? Everything seems worse. He has a face like thunder. Oh dear. I really shouldn't have presumed.
Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? Almost a year it's been now, since I first encountered you here in this very courthouse. For you to have risen to the level of excellence you demonstrated today, well, it's quite remarkable. But I exposed the most unpalatable truth you could have ever imagined in court today. I feel as though I've robbed you of something you held so dear. What was it he said? To fight those who dwell in the darkness requires at least some of us to occupy the darkness ourselves. But that was just the feeble excuse of a coward. Only those with a steadfast eye for the truth have what it takes to fight the dark forces of crime. You made fine work of establishing that fact in court today. Oh. Well, thank you.
What magnanimous words! I'm quite sure that Kazuma-sama would have a smile on his face at this very moment if he were here.
Kazuma.
Look at that smiling face. Oh. All smiles here. Miss Susato? There's another face like thunder here. Oh my, and he really was here.
Lord Van Zieks. Allow me to congratulate you on your acquittal. Congratulate me, or curse me. You failed to bring down the Reaper. I owe you an apology. No, it is I who should apologize. Your father, Genshin. If I had been stronger, then perhaps I made an unforgivable error of judgment. I can offer no excuse. And I can offer no forgiveness. That said, I suppose you fought for justice and the truth. For that at least, I can't withhold respect. Oh god, hurry up and kiss, you two. Your words mean more to me than you could know. I will hold them dear.
Kazuma-sama.
I must say, there's one thing that's still bothering me.
What's that?
The will that Lord Clint Van Zieks wrote before his duel with my father. Asogi is a fine detective and a hunter worthy of respect. He has agreed to honor my final two wishes. The first is that this document survives. The second, I cannot commit to paper. I have confessed my sins to my wife. May she find resolution in my death. With my eternal gratitude to my Japanese friend, I rest my quill. Clint Van Zieks. What can the second of his final wishes have been? That your father agreed to honor, you mean? I think perhaps I might be able to shed some light on that. What? Father? It was 10 years ago, as you know, the day before the execution was scheduled. I went to the prison to say my farewells to Genshin. Why aren't you putting up more of a fight, Genshin? If you'd only agree to it, Seishiro and I would gladly petition the government. We've been through this already. You don't need to worry about me. Anyway, Eugen, I have a favor to ask of you. Something of great importance. You're one of my greatest friends, Genshin. Whatever it is, consider it done. I'm going to tell you an address. I need you to go there at once, in secret and telling no one. You should find a lady of the gentry in hiding there. A lady of the gentry? She's not in a good way, and she's with child. The birth is imminent. As a medical man, I'd like you to attend to her. Please, You're her only hope. By any chance, is the child yours, Genshin? Don't be daft. It's a favor that was asked of me by a man I knew, as his dying wish. My goodness! I swore to the man that I would help, that I would do whatever I could for his wife and his unborn child. But if something should happen to me, I need to ask you that same favor. You're the only person I know that I can truly rely on. What did you say? If something should happen to you? Tomorrow night, you're going to be... You never know, though, do you? What life will bring. Alright then. Tell me the address. I'll head there at once, with Seishiro and... No, not with him. Pardon. This is a favor I'm asking of you, and only you, Eugen. Right, I see. Very well then. God, Genshin, my guy. And I'm just gonna say it right now, my guess is that the child is Iris. That very night, I caught a train from Paddington to Dartmoor in Devon. I found the old house. In the middle of nowhere it was. An old hunting hound lay asleep in the grounds. The poor woman was on the floor at the back of a darkened room. She was in mortal danger. I broke her waters to precipitate the labor before she weakened further. But it was a torturous birth. I did everything humanly possible for her and her child. Genshin was so cool, but I mean, Eugen's just being super cool in this flashback right here. And in the end, I was lucky enough to welcome a new life into the world. But tragically, my efforts to save the mother's life were in vain. I held the healthy newborn girl in my arms and wept for longer than I care to remember. Eventually, in something of a daze, I looked around the room. There was precious little in it, but an old travel trunk caught my eye. It had clearly been well looked after over the years, made of top-quality leather with fine stitching. But it was when I saw the emblem on the side of it that everything dropped into place. B for Baskerville. Baskerville? You mean, the woman was the wife of Lord Clint Van Zieks? That's right. The newborn was his daughter. But that makes no sense. Why on earth wouldn't Clint have entrusted the child to my care in that case? I was completely unaware that he even had a daughter. I suppose he didn't really have any choice. What? Well, your brother said that he confessed everything to his wife. So she must have been beside herself with worry for her child. If the true identity of the professor were ever to be made public, the girl would be forever branded as the daughter of the infamous mass murderer. Ugh. So the only solution was to distance the young girl from the Van Zieks family as much as possible. I don't believe it. I imagine that in his final hour, Lord Clint Van Zieks made the obvious choice. He would have thought to himself, this Japanese man here is someone I can trust. I honored my promise to Genshin, of course. However, only a month later, I was summoned back to Japan. And without disclosing the parentage of the child, I couldn't obtain permission to take her with me. Oh, how awful. Oh man, what could have been? Iris and Susie could have actually been sisters. I was completely at a loss. In the end, I had to ask my great friend. I asked him if he would be a father to her. That being Mr. Sholmes, I presume. Yes. He took one look into my eyes and agreed to it on the spot.
Mr. Sholmes, he has a heart of gold.
Really, all that can be said that I did for the child was to give her a name.
Oh?
When I'd come to Britain, I was trying to escape from the grief of losing my darling wife. So it was her name that I gave the little girl.
Your wife's name, Professor Mikotoba? In other words, the name of my mother? Ayame Mikotoba.
That's right. Ayame. Or, in English, Iris.
Iris? I had no idea. Ouch! Mr. Naruhodo, what's wrong? This little thing just pinched me on the behind through my trouser pocket. Hard!
Ah, my dear fellows, can you hear me?
Mr. Sholmes, is that you? Ow! Yes, we can hear you. You see what excessive tugging can do.
Let that be a lesson to you.
Mr. Sholmes, we weren't able to thank you properly before, but you were simply marvelous. Your checkmate move was a stroke of genius.
Indeed it was, wasn't it? I surpassed myself, I feel. It had become apparent to me that to stop the Lord Chief injustice would require such measures.
Bruno! Susie! Oh, Iris. Oh, I'm so pleased. What a wonderful outcome. Her Majesty Queen Vicky said she thought my special blend was delicious. Oh, I'm sure she did. After all, no one brews a more delicious tea than you do, Iris. Let's have a party to celebrate. And Mr. Reaper, you simply must come too.
What? I'm afraid I couldn't.
The Reaper of the Bailey, flustered by a 10-year-old girl. Again. No, really? Oh, poo.
But I give you my word that I shall present myself at your residence in the near future to express my gratitude.
Oh, how lovely. You've promised now. I won't let you forget. Bye for now, then.
Alright, Iris. Thank you for all your help earlier.
Oh, that was nothing. Just come back home soon.
So they're gonna tell her, right?
Ouch! One final pinch goodbye, was it?
You know, if you were observing the tiniest of details, you could have possibly linked Iris to Zeke's before. They have the same eye color. I mean, I suppose they do, but I never really, like, put that together. Well, I think I ought to be leaving. Lord Van Zeeks, would you care to accompany me? Certainly. Mr. Naruhodo, allow me once again to express my deep gratitude to you. I believe you saved my life.
You're an uncle now. Wait, Lord Van Zeeks.
Yes.
What are you intending to do now?
Well, clearly, I shall have to resign from the prosecutor's office.
Oh no!
I intend to publicize the full truth about the Professor case. Once that's done, the Van Zeeks family will be ostracized completely from London society.
Surely not.
So, as soon as I am free from my employment, I shall leave the capital.
Oh, I see.
Don't be a fool. Are those the actions of a man once feared as the mighty Reaper of the Bailey? I beg your pardon. For the past 10 years, you've endured that pseudonym and have been cast as one of the dark forces yourself. Now that you've finally been freed from that disrepute, your battle is just beginning, surely. Well, I certainly never expected to hear those words from your lips. I waited a very long time to come to London,
Now I'm properly here. I intend to learn all that I can. Anyway, goodbye for now. Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Kazuma Sogi. It seems as though he's really matured suddenly. He's not the only one who's matured, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, I think we should make our way back to Baker Street. We must help Iris with tonight's dinner. We must. Aww. It was then that I came to an important decision about my future. 4th November, 6:25 p.m. Sholmes' suite. I'm home. Ah! About time, guy. We've been waiting ages, Odo. What are you doing with that colorful piece of history? It's a party, innit? I gotta go off with a bang. I mean, fireworks, ideally. When you ain't got fire, smoke's the next best thing, ain't it? There's a girl on Fresno Street who could help you with that, I think. Right. I'll remember that. You don't have to reload that thing every time I speak. You really must hear this. It's quite the most extraordinary thing. I assure you it will defy your expectations. Take down every detail now, Mikotoba. Ah, the world-famous great detective, regaling his partner with the tale of his adventure. A sight to behold. Would you care to hazard a guess? Where do you suppose the fiendish runaway had concealed himself? Would you believe? Inside the trunk I found abandoned in his cabin. I would believe it, yes. I was there. I say, Mikotoba, I detect not a hint of surprise. I wonder why that is, Maybe because I was there at the scene as well, Sholmes. What? You were? Then why the deuce didn't you say so before? Not quite the sight I was expecting to behold, but still. It's hard not to feel privileged to see it. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Professor Mikotoba. I'm finally back from the Bailey. And not a moment too soon. A feast prepared by Iris and Miss Susato awaits. I must say, I haven't seen Susato looking so happy in a very long time. Oh, Runo, there you are. Dinner's on the table, everyone. Please do come and take a seat. Don't want to fill me boots. Man, we got so many MVPs. The Chad. The Susato. Sholmes. Ryujin Mikotoba's dancing booty. Fucking broke fun Zeeks. Oh man, I love these crazy kids. Goodness, is that really true, Gina? Gina frickin' Lestrade. Chief Inspector Toby. My god, the GOAT. That's right, he's the GOAT, the MVP. Yup, I'm losing me Coppers Club and going back to what I know best. It's a diver's life for me. You're really leaving the police force? But why, Ginny? Well, the boss ain't around no more, so... Oh. Anyway, no matter how hard I try, that Reaper ain't never gonna accept a diver-turned dick, is he? Well, people can change, you know. Ah, yes, that reminds me. I rather thoughtfully offered to relieve the bailiff of this now-defunct piece of evidence. It's the inspector's pocket watch, and the crown's been reattached. That watch was his pride and joy, a symbol of his great achievements at Scotland Yard. For 10 years, without fail, it measured every second of the man's remarkable career. But now, it's stopped. Someone needs to keep the memory of Inspector Gregson's career alive by taking on the great responsibility of winding that watch every single day again. Yes, someone with an equally fierce detective spirit. It hurts, but there's a lot of pride in this theme.
It's gotta be me. There ain't no one else.
Quite right. I mean, after all, the boss was... well, he was my boss. Yes, Ginny. Yes, he was. Oh, yeah? And I made you a promise and all, didn't I, Iris? That I'd become a proper detective one day and track down your old man. Oh. Alright then, it's decided. I'll do it. And I swear, I'll find your dad and bring him here and kicking and screaming. I'm not entirely sure that would be appropriate. Yes, I think, Gina, it might be best to, well... I think I'd like you to forget that promise, Ginny. Iris has, like, 5 dads now. Okay, well, 3. Iris has 3 dads at the moment. She's got Herlock Sholmes, she's got Eugen Mikotoba, and now she has her dunkle. Her dunkle Varroque. I guess 2.5. I don't know if you'd call an uncle a dad. Well, obviously, I've always wondered about who my real daddy was. Of course I have. I wanted to know where I've come from. I thought it might tell me something about myself. But I've caused such a lot of trouble trying to find out for so many people. Hurley, Bruno, Professor Mickey...
Oh, no, not at all, my dear. Really, you owe no apology to anyone.
Well, anyway, I've decided to give up on it. Because I finally realized my daddy is the greatest in the world. I don't think it matters what his name is or where he's from. Don't you agree? Hurley?
With every word, Iris.
Thank you, Hurley. Thank you, Daddy.
I think Mikotoba. Yes, Sholmes. I think that I ought to express my gratitude to you. Oh! For 6 years, you and I solved many a mystery together. And during that time, I remember countless expressions of gratitude for our good services. But a moment ago, I heard the most pleasing expression of gratitude of them all. And I should never have experienced it, were it not for you. You old softy, Sholmes. But I must confess, it's a weight off my mind to hear you say it. Well then, I think this calls for a lengthy violin recital, wouldn't you say?
Oh well, the food would go cold, that's the only problem. Maybe next week, Hurley?
Are you sure a week is long enough, Iris? Ah! Aww. Even amidst the most troubling of cases, even reeling from the most shocking of revelations, returning in the evening to this suite of rooms, there's always warmth and happiness to be had. The home of the world's greatest detective, and my home too, with my greatest family. Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. This attic room has been my home and office for almost a year now. I've certainly had some unforgettable experiences whilst I lived here. But I think now, the time has come. Time to bid this place farewell. Naruhodo? Sorry. I was expecting Susato. Sorry. Naruhodo. Oh, Professor. Are you alone? I didn't hear any sound from Susato's room. Yes, Susato-san went out after dinner. She took a carriage. Something about an important matter she needed to take care of. Ah, I see. I wanted to thank you for what you did earlier. Oh? With Iris, I mean. When the subject of her father came up, Lord Clint Van Zeeks, I made up my mind many years ago never to tell her who her real father was. It's what was agreed with Genshin, after all.
Lord Clint Van Zeeks' final wishes before he died, you mean?
Yes. I've had to take some rather drastic steps at times to protect that secret, you know. Calling Susato back to Japan 6 months ago, for example.
That's why? I was wondering about that. It just seemed very sus to me that he would do it for just that reason.
When I read Soseki-san's report about his final days in London, my heart nearly stopped. You'd stumbled across the crux of that terrible case. The dog's collar. The description of the Baskerville insignia left me in no doubt.
Baskerville.
If you decided to investigate that insignia, sooner or later you had made the connection to the Van Zeeks. And to make matters worse, Susato knew of the unpublished story as well. A story that Iris had written based on my notes from the time.
Oh yes, the Hound of the Baskervilles.
Exactly. It was a work of fiction, but based on the grim reality of a huge beast of a dog being used as a murder weapon. A dog with the Baskerville family emblem around its neck. Armed with those two clues, I feared you and Susato might arrive at the truth. So I invented that story about having collapsed to justify her leaving London and returning to Japan at once. All in aid of halting any investigations you and she might have been contemplating.
I see. Something I've never understood is why Susato-san came across that manuscript in Japan, though. You know, Iris's The Hound of the Baskerville story, I mean.
Sholmes sent it to me. That was before Susato left Japan. He was very troubled about what should be done about it, you see. I'd read it and carelessly left it on my desk, which is where Susato came across it, of course.
Oh.
It was the only case Sholmes and I ever pursued that I didn't record in meticulous detail. I was stunned when I discovered that young Iris had pieced together so much of it from my paltry notes. Sholmes and I discussed the matter, and decided that we couldn't allow the story's publication. At that point, I returned the manuscript by post to Sholmes for safekeeping.
So you did all that to stop Iris from finding out the truth about her father?
That's right, because Sholmes had told me how astute she'd become. However, having witnessed events in court today, I must say my opinion has somewhat shifted.
Oh?
I think at some point in the future, the time will come for Iris to know the truth. And when it does, well, I believe it will be for the best.
I think so too. Actually, Professor, I wanted to talk to you about something too.
Judging from that expression, I'd say you've come to a decision, have you?
Yes, I have. I will be returning with you to Japan.
Are you quite sure?
I'm really only here as a substitute for Cosma. But he's here in Britain now, as originally intended. Locum student Naruhodo doesn't really have a right to stay, I think.
I see.
Looking back now, when I first arrived here in February, oh man, playing the title track. My becoming a lawyer just seemed to be the way things turned out. With Cosma, Susato-san, and Mr. Sholmes all gently pushing me in that direction. I spent the best part of a year immersed in this world, but always aware of a seed of doubt inside me.
Until today. Standing in that courtroom earlier, all doubts vanished from my mind. I was totally focused. I was sure of my belief in my client, and I was sure I could see the trial through. And at the end of it, I finally realized no one else chose this path for me. I chose it myself. The path of a defense lawyer, eh? Yes, that's what I am now. That's what I'll be going back to Japan with you to Japan as. And that's the path I'll be following for the rest of my life. Well, it sounds like you've made quite a resolution there. I have. Very well then. I must say, it's extremely welcome news. I shall make arrangements for your return first thing tomorrow. I don't imagine we'll depart for a few days. Not with the symposium having been cancelled now. Such a shame. Never mind. I'm sure there'll be other opportunities in the future. Well then, I'll bid you good night. Suzaru was there the whole time! Suzaru-san? I just wanted to let you know I'm back. Did you, hear what your father and I were discussing? I'm sorry. I did, yes. I couldn't help but... Oh, how much did you hear? Well, from the part about Iris's real father, I think. In other words, from the beginning. So, you've made up your mind? You'll return to Japan and continue working as a defense lawyer. Yes, I'm sorry. I really should have consulted you about it. I did want to earlier this evening, actually. But you'd already gone out. Oh, no, that's quite alright. I already knew that's what you'd decide, Naruhodo-san. You did? Suzaru-san? Yes? I suppose this means it has to be farewell soon. I suppose. You'll be a great help to Kazuma going forward. I mean, I know he's a brilliant lawyer, but he's new to the British courtroom. He'll certainly benefit greatly having a brilliant judicial assistant at his side. I'll do my very best. I wish I could say it, but I just can't. I can't ask her to come with me. After all, she was always supposed to be coming to Britain as Kazuma's assistant. It's growing late. We should both try and get some sleep. I'm sure you must be exhausted after today. Oh, yes, you're right. Before I retire, let me just say one more time. You really were quite splendid in court today. So, if you ask me, anyone who thinks of you as a substitute or a locum should be ashamed of themselves. Suzaru-san. Thank you. Oh. This game just doesn't miss. 7th of November, 5:42 a.m. Port of Dover, Quayside. I can't believe this day's finally come. You're really leaving then, Runo? I'm afraid so, Iris. Thank you so much for everything. I don't know what I'll do without your wonderful cooking and delicious tea. Oh, I wish you weren't going, but you have to come back and visit. Say you will. Of course. I promise. Well, it was a very brief reunion, but it was a pleasure to pursue a case with you again after so long. For a while, at least. It felt like old times. Yes, I suppose on reflection, there's something to be said for it. Having a little fun once in a while. I'll just go and say goodbye to the professor as well, I think. Alright, Iris, you do that. Honk.
Susato-san.
I've just checked, Naruhodo-san. Your luggage is already on board. Such a beautiful morning. Perfect for embarking on a journey, isn't it?
Before I set off, I'd just like to say how thankful I am for everything you've done for me. And give my warmest regards to Kazuma, please.
Actually, I think you ought to give him your regards in person, don't you?
Sorry?
Ryunosuke,
Wait, he's coming with us?
Kazuma!
Oh,
what
shit.
are you doing here?
do you really think I'd miss my best friend's departure?
Yeah. I have to give my bestie a hug before I go.
Thanks. To be honest, I'd been looking forward to our wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's capital, but,
Well, we'll have to save that for another time. Personally, I'm looking forward to facing you in court again.
me too. But, we're both defense lawyers, so,
I'm going to become a prosecutor. I'll stay in Lord Van Zeek's tutelage for the time being, but before long, I intend to be just as formidable as the Reaper himself.
Oh, shit. He's like grown attached to Van Zeeks. It's adorable. I love it. Oh.
oh, I see.
Asogi Investigations when Capcom, yeah. Tell me what you know or I'll
Actually,
cut your head off.
Ryunosuke,
No.
I have a favor to ask.
Name it.
I'd like you to take care of this for me for a while.
Karuma? Why?
He's giving us his
Because
sword.
I've seen it now.
Oh.
I've seen what's inside me. The demon that reared its ugly head that day. It was only for the briefest of moments. The last time I came face to face with that inspector. But it was unmistakable. I wanted to kill him. I've always known there are demons that live inside people. And now I know there is one in me. The fact that it very nearly consumed me is something I'll carry with me until the end of my days. While I devote my life to fighting those whose demons have got the better of them. As a prosecutor,
So, that's what you've resolved to do, is it?
until I'm ready to face the demon within me, to slay it once and for all. I leave this in your care,
Oh.
if you'll take it.
Of course I will. I'll keep it by my side. Always.
Got the bro's sword. Oh.
Until we meet again then. You have your path to follow, and I have mine.
Naruhodo-san? The path you're going to follow from now on. I wonder if I might follow it at your side, and unless I'd be a burden.
Wifey! Yeah, come along.
I mean,
It's not like...
I would very much like you to come with me.
Aw.
But aren't you...
You're so predictable, Ryunosuke.
I am?
Honestly, you never change at all. But that's what I like about you.
Okay, There's no straight way to interpret that line.
You mean you knew about this?
It was the evening after Lord Van Zeek's trial came to an end.
Ryunosuke, you're a dumbass. But man, you're my dumbass.
She came to see me at the prosecutor's office.
Really? Or when I had that conversation with Professor Mikotoba?
So, you'd go with Ryunosuke back to Japan?
Yes. I know it's unfair of me to follow my own interests like this.
Coming here especially to tell me. You're a stickler for etiquette, aren't you? Well, what are his feelings?
We've never discussed it, of course, and Naruhodo-san has made no such suggestion. I worry that perhaps I'd be a burden to him.
He's just as much of a stickler for etiquette as you are. He'd never say anything before he was asked. But I'd feel happy knowing you were with him.
Aww.
Look out for him on my behalf, will you?
Keep an eye on my boyfriend.
Of course.
Make sure his eyes don't stray.
Susato-san.
I'm trusting you. Super Judicial Assistant Mikotoba. You have to stop my boyfriend from looking at other men.
What do you think, Naruhodo-san?
With you by my side, no trial would seem too daunting.
Aww.
So if you're willing, I'd be honored if you'd come with me. Together we can take on the world.
Did they get tickets for her too, or they're just gonna figure that out as they
I'm terribly
go?
incompetent, but if you'll have me, I'd be delighted.
Oh, no, not at all. If anyone's terribly incompetent, it's me.
Oh, God.
Ah! What's wrong?
Your luggage, Susato-san. There's no time. The ship's going to set sail any minute now.
It's all right. There's no need to worry. As it happens, my luggage is already on board too.
Of course. She planned this out, man.
Your fine judicial assistant has everything in hand as always, I see.
That's why she's the boss. Ryunosuke's just there to look pretty.
Bruno, your ship's about to leave.
Time to go then.
Fucking bolt,
Look
man.
after yourself, Ryunosuke.
Kazuma, draw your sword.
What?
One day, when our paths cross, once more, we'll fight a duel of words across the courtroom.
Aw.
A day I eagerly await as a lawyer.
I've been waiting to hear you say that. Partner.
Though we may be born on different days, we vow to die on the same day. Wait, no, sorry. Wrong series. Gay.
Don't forget me then, Kazuma.
He never could, man.
As if I could. Ryunosuke.
Sorry. This bitch
And
is
Mr.
gay.
Sholmes,
Good for
thank
them.
you so much. I'm very much indebted to you.
This is just a gay man mentoring another young gay man, and I love it. It's so good.
Indeed, Mr. Naruhodo. I believe you are.
I'll never forget all you've done for me during my time in London.
Quite. I should like to think you will remember your debt of gratitude. Especially when I visit you in your country.
Aww.
What? The truth is, although many are ignorant of the fact, the world is far smaller than most folk realize.
Aww.
Well, I'd be delighted if you came to Japan one day.
Oh yes, would welcome you with open arms, Mr. Sholmes.
Oh, that sounds wonderful! I can't wait!
Yeah, Iris has to come too, obviously.
In that case, let us conclude that this is to be merely a brief parting, my dear fellows.
Yep. Oh.
And that brings us to the end of my adventures in Great Britain.
Aw.
A peculiar twist of fate brought me halfway around the world those many months ago. But that was just the start of my journey. Who knows where fate will lead me next?
So cute.
Still, I'm confident this won't be my last meeting with the friends I've made in London.
Love all these idiots.
And when we're
These idiots are
together
good.
again. No doubt, the first words I'll hear will be,
Come, the game is afoot.
No more games, my dear fellows.
The ship, with our friends from the east, sailed steadily towards the distant horizon. But Sholmes' face was alight with joy.
The times may change, but a steadfast friendship will remain true, Wilson. We have but to gently close our eyes, and we are with our companions once more.
Aw.
So I do just that. And when I do, I can hear his strong, familiar voice ring out.
Objection!
Objection!
Until we meet again, Bruno.
Oh god, such a good game. Holy crap. That was an amazing final case. Final two cases, I guess, but oh man, oh boy, yes. Absolutely perfect. I've been thoroughly inundated with inquiries about my remote cinematograph since that day. I'm no purveyor of electrical goods. What of the promised closed-court secrecy? Anyway, I've decided an absence from London is in order. A sojourn in distant climes. The Empire of Japan, perhaps. Understand that wardrobe class incurs no charge whatsoever. Oh my god. I'm not going to go reading through all those, but holy crap, man. Oh, so cute. Big send-off, can't wait to see what's next. I don't know what's next. I'll have to figure it out. I don't want to, like, go into a long JRPG because I want to play Kuro no Kiseki once the spreadsheet hits. And, I mean, I could be like, well, I'm gonna estimate end of December. That's just an estimate, though. I have no idea if that's actually gonna be the case or not. But, like, if I do a game, I want it to be, like, a shorter one. Kind of like, well, depends on how often I can stream, but maybe I could do a Rise. Maybe. I don't know. But man, this was an incredible ride. That's for sure. Oh, man. I loved all the characters. The villains in the series were actually some of the best, I think. Like, McGilded just had this presence that carried out throughout the first game. And even though he wasn't the final boss, he was still just so, you know, he was just so prevalent and important in Ryunosuke's development. He's just such a good character. Ugh. And then, of course, big ol' male Strongheart. Holy crap, it was satisfying to take him down. It was amazing how far his depravity went. Like, I had a feeling that Clint Van Zieks was going to be the Professor Killer the whole time. But I wasn't expecting Strongheart to be manipulating him, too. Like, holy shit. It's crazy. Oh, man. Gregson. Oh, man, I miss Gregson. Such a fascinating character. You thought he was just going to be like the silly fish and chips detective, like Gumshoe. You know, cute and sweet. And it turns out he's involved in conspiracy of the highest order. Gina, truth is, I'm not the understanding fellow. You might be a diver at heart, but it's a good heart. Remind me I need to be true to myself. What? Oh, Gregson. Gregson, why do you do this to me? God. Fish Dad was proud of his thief daughter. Yep. Fish Dad was good dad. God, fuck Strongheart. Oh, man. Wait, why is Soseki-san doing... What? Who is this Catfish Council for the Defense? Women have all been into the courtroom. Oh, really? What the hell? Perhaps I should have engaged the services of a regular legal team. Oh my god, Hosonaga. Man, Hosonaga was such a great gag character too. Like, his disguises were always on point. Love this guy. They're defending Hosonaga for breaking in. Yep. Are they experts at filleting corpses? Yes, they are. Fish corpses, on the whole. I'd like to hone my own filleting skills. You don't mind, do you, Mama? Yes, I do. I'm not a corpse yet, am I? Oh my god. But yeah, there's just so many great cases. 1-5 sticks with me. Freaking... I mean, 2-5, obviously. 2-5 is the freaking pinnacle. 2-3 was amazing, too. That would have been, like, a good final case in some of the other, like, Ace Attorney games. Like, I'd probably rate it higher than, well, yeah, I definitely rated higher than 1-4, 1-5, in the original games. Rated higher than 4's final case, that's for sure. Don't know if I would... Definitely wouldn't do it for Spirit of Justice, and I don't think I'd do it for Dual Destinies, but, you know, still. It's high praise for a middle of a game case. I'd have to do, like, a whole case ranking one of these days. But then I'd have to, like, remember stuff from, like, 10 years ago when I first played the games. Oh, man, Madame Two Spells. Oh, she was so cute. I'll have to actually watch these credit sequences, because apparently, there's some interesting stuff that I'm missing, because I'm just like, just like gushing about this game. Oh my god. This game would absolutely not be complete without Herlock Sholmes. Dude absolutely stole the scene every single time he was in there. You were just like, oh my god, it's fucking Sholmes again. And you just knew it was gonna be great, and it was great every single freaking time. Oh, man. Oh shit, Vigil's in jail with the DeRossi brothers. I sell at the spaghetti. Oh my god. Yeah, definitely a funner ride than Apollo Justice. Oh, for sure. I wonder how Strongheart fares in, like, my villain rankings. Do I rank him over Dahlia Hawthorne? That is the tough choice. Oof. Put him over Matt on Guard. I like Matt on Guard, but definitely. Do I rate him over Von Karma? Yeah. Do I rate him over Gant? Of course I do. Garen? Garon? Yeah. Fuck, maybe he is. No, actually, I think as a villain, I like Christoph Gavin more. Not for any, like, not as a character, I hate Christoph Gavin, but as a villain, oh man, it was so satisfying. Put Christoph in his frickin' place. Oh god. Yep. So, Dahlia and Christoph, and I hated the Phantom. I liked him when he was just our bumbling detective Bobby Fulbright, but as the Phantom, ugh, no. Boo. Hiss. Lame. So yeah, Christoph, Dahlia, then Strongheart number 3. And I'd have to figure out how the rest of those rankings go, because holy bajolies, lots of good villains in the Ace Attorney series. And then, you know, you gotta compare, like, final case villains to, like, mid-case villains. Graydon was a lot of fun, too, now I think about it. I did like Ashley Graydon. Dude had style. dude was dogged and determined, and I really like that. Even though it's just like, holy shit, can we get this guy to surrender already? Breaking down Strongheart was easy by comparison. Oh, the picture's so cute. All we're missing is Baroque, like, just standing in the background holding his hallowed chalice. And it would have been perfect. That was an amazing credit suite, by the way. Oh, we got more. You're loving voicing Graydon for his streams? I can't wait her to get further in case. Oh, for sure. I only popped into the very end of that stream, but I was just like, yep. He's such a fun character. Oh, do be sure to check out some of the extras? Sure, I may as well. Oh god, speaking of, like, the tutorial cases in these games were actually good. Like, normally they're just throwaways. Well, not always, but the first two games they were throwaways. Now, you got freaking Giselle Brett, and it turns out she's, like, really important in all this. Oh, man. Inspector Hosonaga. My boy, Hosonaga, is just so fucking good. One hilarious extra of Ryunosuke meeting Phoenix. Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out. Especially for today being the series anniversary. Holy shit, it's the series anniversary today. I could not have picked a better day to end this on, huh? I assure you, this was purely coincidental. I was actually thinking of maybe going on Thanksgiving, but circumstances changed, so that didn't happen. So, doing it today is amazing. Oh god, Soseki. Love Soseki. He's just such a delightful defendant. And Enoch Drebber, man. Dude had the poses. Fucking robot moves, I loved him. The frickin' time bomb. Wasn't expecting you guys to linger for so long. Ah, yes, I suppose that would be my fault, wouldn't it? So convinced this was an anti-gravity device. I really like how freaking Beppo shows up at the worst possible times, and he always makes things worse, and it's great. Hairbrain and Zeke's being good friends is wholesome. Oh, absolutely. The series has so many good friends. Like Peppino De Rossi and other guys named Russo. Oh, man. The Red-Headed League. Gregson, no! Aw, the salute. Eugen's got the moves. Eugen's got the moves. Erloc's got the moves. They've all got the moves. Hell, Jigoku's got the moves too. Strongheart, do you have the moves? Nah. You got the percussion though, that's for sure. He has the clap. Well, I certainly hope nobody was giving him the clap. That would be bad times for everybody. Ugh. And then their swords touched. Ah, man, I love this game. Game is perfect. Taken as a complete set, this might be, no, this just is the best Ace Attorney game. As much as I am partial to Investigations 2, Spirit of Justice, yeah, I'd say those two would be the other ones in discussion.
Finish him. Alright then. I guess I'm gonna go check out the extras now. Oh shit. Pose at the end. That's a really nice art piece to end on. And I got an achievement. The Risen Resolve. And once again, we end on the boat screen. Alright, so let's check out the special contents. Probably missing some accolades here and there. Completion of all the extra escapade adventures. Use all the outfits. Dug around to find out every argument about shovels and spades. Oh god. I didn't examine the bed. Oh no. For presenting the armband to Lord Van Zeeks. Yes. Oh my god. I didn't realize that was the thing you could do. Anyway, let's, Oh, Iris got him a suit. He looks just like Shomzi. Except in different colors. That's cute. Iris also made... Aww! It's cute. So cute. I like that. And Shomzi's Japanese jumble mix. Oh, honey, that's a disaster. Oh, that's a disaster. Can't be caught dead walking out of your house in that. Oh. But he would anyway, because he is Sherlock Sholmes, the greatest detective known to man. Actually, here's the credits. I'm actually not gonna go to watch the credits. As much as I like giving the people their props.
Objection! Your testimony completely contradicts the facts.
Ah man, look at all these voice lines that never got used.
Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes, there's a clear inconsistency here.
Hold it! Susato Mikotoba, judicial assistant to the defense. Prepare for a Susato takedown!
Objection! So everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
Oh, perfect. Love it. Wait. What? What am I waiting for? You didn't let her say the hi-ya.
Prepare for a Susato takedown! Hiya!
Oh, that was cute.
We must solve this case, Naruhodo-san. By ourselves, if we have to.
Objection!
Aw.
It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson.
Aw.
Iris Wilson is proud to present her logic and reasoning spectacular.
Perfect.
Objection!
A Japanese man's katana is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go and cuts down anything that's in my way.
Adorable.
I have faith in you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, as a lawyer and as a friend.
Damn right you do.
Objection! Objection! My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage! The prosecution refuses to accept this decision.
Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. That you're a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago.
Damn.
Mere amateur.
Baroque's voice is husky. Wasn't quite expecting that. Always loved the objection themes. Classics. this is funky. Yeah, I like that they include the comments, because it's just like, hey, you know, we tried this, didn't work, so we messed around a bit some more. It's nice to see. Mr. Opening theme was created based on one of Mr. Maeba's unsuccessful attempts. If his work hadn't been scrapped, I'm quite certain this theme would never have seen the light of day. I had a competition with Mr. Maeb to compose the theme and I lost. But I can accept defeat, secure in the knowledge that he created the perfect piece to match Zato's image. Aw. Well, I gotta find Cosma. He's way down at the bottom here. Something elegant but emotional, but also elegant, was the request. This piece tries to capture Cosma's inner strength, a movingly gallant character. If you listen carefully, you may even feel the keen edge of karma, perhaps. Nice. Sounds like something you might hear at the public baths in the Ryokan Hotel. So it had to go. Public bath prosecutor, Cosmo Asogi. I recall being acutely aware of that intimidation as I was composing this theme. Felt like I was doing altitude training. Oh, I actually like this scrap theme a lot. It does feel a bit too somber rather than imposing, but I feel like this could have been used as like his reminiscence theme or something, provided that would be if he was a more sympathetic character. He definitely is not a sympathetic character. There are story spoilers in this DLC. It's recommended you finish both hours before proceeding. Ah, so this is where all the good ones are. No, I'm kidding. There was good ones in the other one, but this is where all the crazy stuff is. There's the main theme. But obviously, I have to listen to partners. Oh man, the tapping. Oh. The game is afoot. Let's dance, my dear fellow. Surely the other person can be. Could it? It is a very good arrangement, that is for sure. Problem is I could just listen to the song for like 30 minutes straight and be cool with it. That's absolutely insane. The sort of process is how each game puts me to the test. Also, this version is from before we recorded any tamp testing. So let's see what the unused version sounds like. No, that tap dancing definitely gives it the extra touch. Like, you can tell that they had, like, the basis for this down from the start. Like, they knew what they were gonna do to make this awesome. They just needed to get that little extra oomph to it. And by gosh, did they do it. Now, I really like that they do the Prelude to Pursuit themes. Like, they had the Prelude to Objection themes as well, and it's just like, it's really good because it like hypes you into the track, and then when you present the decisive evidence, it just goes bam. Prelude is great just to hype up the main theme. Oh, exactly. Like, I love the backing, like, I guess that's the cello. I'm not instrumentally, like, aware of stuff, but I know when I hear the in the back, it's just like, oh, that's so good with the overlying melody. And then you go, boom. You only get to hear this once. One freaking time. But God, it's perfect. It's perfect when it does play. A new pursuit for Resolve was the starting point for this piece. But to me, a great turnabout was already in, so I tried going down a different tangent and wound up with a pursuit-style arrangement of Ryunosuke's theme. So, how did I do? I hope I succeeded in making you shout, "Yes!" the moment it started playing. Definitely. Definitely. Hey, sometimes, if you only have a track play once, you just gotta make it count for the moment it plays. Alright. Now I want to see some of these scrapped Great Coast Trials because it was also a theme I really enjoyed. It helped really set up the majesty of what you were doing. I was so determined to create something extraordinary for Ryunosuke and Kazuma's epic battle that I ended up going a bit overboard. Using motifs from both of their themes, I thought to make a very thick and rich piece. Alas, it didn't feel quite right for Kazuma's theme to come in first, and it was too emotional, so it didn't make the grade. Yeah, these are interesting. I definitely prefer what we actually got, but although I could definitely vibe to this track, I'm sure. Oh, right. This song. Oh my god. This is an a cappella song on the record Shomes bought for some unknown reason. I hope you find it to be just the right dash of flavor for the story. Oh my god, they really just composed a German song. Oh my god. I thought they, like, got it from somebody. I guess I gotta play your wifey's theme, right? I wrote this piece based solely on her appearance, which only reaffirmed to me the importance of always double-checking your facts before you start. I'm usually very good about it, but I don't know why I didn't do this this time. I'll never know. You'll know what I mean if you take a listen to the scrap version, but I initially wrote her theme based on her mysterious and bewitching looks. Once I learned of her personality, I realized I'd been on the completely wrong track, and she's more the eccentric type, so I ended up rewriting the piece from scratch. Oh yeah, they're totally different.
Mrs. Sato, I'd hoped to have you always at my side, to guide me and support me. Please, come back soon.
Oh, oh man, whatever. It's fine. I don't see Kazuma's prosecutor theme here. Am I missing it? I don't see revival of the prosecutor or anything of that nature here.
like I thought it would be in the depths, but... yeah. Well, still pretty cool. There's a lot of understated sound effects in this game, so this one probably stands out more than any other. Oh, definitely. That is definitely true.
Mrs. I'd hoped to have you always at my side, to guide me and support me. Please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world.
Aw. So, how short are these extra episodes? Well, I'll try the first one out. This escapade includes spoilers about the first game's story. Whatever, it's fine. Like 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, I'll do one. 22nd of November, 3:08 p.m. Supreme Court, Judicature, Defendant's Antechamber, 5. Just look at my priceless treasure now. Myself I have scrubbed and scrubbed, but the repellent odor of meat will never be repelled from its resplendent surface again. But you have it back in your possession, at least. You should be grateful, old man. How dare you! Excuse me, but I'd just like to get at that Zabuton cushion there if I could. Rest assured, you miserable military malefactor, this is not over. Incarceration awaits those who would defraud a senior citizen for his priceless treasures. Watch your tongue, old man. Mark my words, I won't. Sorry, Sergeant, but could I just get at that Zabuton cushion there as well? Oh. I won't go to jail. Never. Imagine if I did. Very next day, my boy would starve without the chain command in place to provide for him. Using the child to protect yourself? Myself, I call that abstinent cowardice. Oh, really? And just who employed the old poor defenseless senior citizen tactic, Only way to find an enemy who's using underhand tactics is with a tit-for-tat strategy. Sorry to interrupt again, but I just need to get that Western-style cushion there on the sofa. Enough of this insubordination. What do you want, man? Oh, please, don't mind me. Aha! Do my eyes deceive me? Was this the wide-eyed criminal from that trial before? Wide-eyed, perhaps, but criminal, no. What is this unhealthy fascination you exhibit with the seating arrangements of others, Why were you peering under the cushions of this upholstered seat? Oh, well, the thing is... Any luck? Did you find it? No, sadly not. I don't think it's here, Kazuma. You really are a liability, Ryunosuke. Report! At once! Have you lost something? Is that it? Yes, we were just on our way to a party to celebrate my friend's victory here when... I realized that my university pin badge was missing. A university pin badge, you say? Yes, from my collar here, you see? Affirmative. Uniforms must be kept in prime condition at all times. A missing badge is unacceptable. I thought if I looked around, it'd probably turn up somewhere. Like the old tale of the Koban coin and the stake. A parable of which I am acutely aware. But I've exhausted my search now, really. The only logical conclusion is that someone must have stolen it. Don't look at me! I just don't find any old metal objects irresistible, you know? Imagine what would happen if little Trooper Ido here swallowed something like that. I'm afraid we'll have to give up, Ryunosuke. Still, if you tell the office your student number, they should be able to issue you with a new one. What's the matter? Don't tell me. Yes, I don't remember my student number. I don't believe it. I mean, this is the second time you've lost your badge, isn't it? Third, actually. If you didn't think you could remember it, you should have made a note of it somewhere. I told you that until I was blue in the face the last time this happened. Oh, yes, I do seem to remember someone telling me something along those lines. It was you, was it? You can't even remember who told you that you needed to remember it? Well, student numbers are 6 digits, Cosma. Who could remember 6 whole digits? Yume isn't exactly a long-established university, you know. All of our numbers are still rather low. In fact, they only use the last 3 digits. Well, that might help, I suppose. That might help? Ryunosuke, it's only 3 digits you need to remember. Just 3! Sorry my brain is such a disappointment. Yes, well... Anyway, young man, myself, I was greatly impressed with you in the courtroom today. Oh, you mean me? A lawyer already before you've even graduated. Such a loyal friend to this one. This one? What's that supposed to mean? Oh no, I still have much to learn. In fact, that was brought home to me in no uncertain terms only last year. My Achilles heel was spectacularly exposed by my best friend here. Indeed? What? By me? This is the first I've heard about it. Yes, by Ryunosuke Naruhodo. You can't have forgotten, surely. It was last summer, the speech contest. The speech contest? Oh, that. Contestants had to take the stage and deliver a public address on any subject they chose. We were competing to give the most compelling and powerful speech. And yours was great. It made a huge impression on the audience. Obviously, since I was a budding student of law, I was determined to win. And sure enough, one by one, my opposition fell. When I reached the final at last, I came up against you. Yes, so you did. Not being rude, but when I first laid eyes on you, I thought to myself, this cheeky, wide-eyed no-hoper is out of his depth. He's going to be a pushover. That's your version of not being rude, is it? Well, I paid for my complacency, because it brought on that humiliating defeat. Defeat? How were your ranks compromised? My speech was going very well. I had the audience in the palm of my hand. They hung on my every word. And then, when I came to the very last line... Yes, what happened at the very last line? It was supposed to be a climactic end. Unfortunately, I completely fouled it up. Never! You mean, you stumbled on your words? Spectacularly. Even now, I can't believe I ruined it. Well, what on earth did you say, man? Ryunosuke, you'd better say it. I still can't get my tongue around it. Sure, of course. I can still recall it perfectly. What you said at the end of your speech, or rather, what you intended to say at the end of your speech, was this. So rise, ladies and gentlemen, and applaud our forefathers' plight and the fight for filial piety. And what went wrong? What indeed? Myself, I see no problem with the pronunciation of these paltry words. In that case, old man, I invite you to say it yourself. Very well then, I shall. So arise, ladies and gentlemen, and applaud our forefathers' plight and the fight for filial piety. It's impossible! The "arise, ladies and gentlemen" part I delivered perfectly. But the next part had me floundering for a whole 5 minutes. By the end of it, I was on my knees in front of the podium, a blabbering mess. And that's when the audience started to heckle you. "Arise, arise," they were shouting. Hell on earth! But then, of course, this man went and delivered his word-perfect speech with a perfect ending. How did it go again? Let me see. "So, my dear fellows, the message is simple. Treat your father and mother with respect." Something like that. I mean, talk about stating the obvious. But the fact is, I lost that speech. Tongue-tied is the only way to describe it. Well, it is quite tricky to say, I agree. That final fight for filial piety, especially. And ever since that day, I've had this question whirling around my head. Why did our forefathers choose such an awkward phrase? Was it to mock their children? I mean, it should never have been called filial piety in the first place. Ah! At least you're going to Great Britain soon. It might not come up much there. Well, anyway. Having lost that accursed contest, I came after you to ask you a question. "How is it that you never trip up on your words?" I inquired. And you just gave me a broad smile and said, "Speaking fast is my hobby." Really? What kind of a hobby is that? Do you think you could take your hand off of your sword? Besides, it's just a way to pass the time. After that, you started talking at me 10 to the dozen, like you were possessed almost. Honestly, I can't imagine the shock I suffered that day. You really can't. You're right, I really can't. Speaking fast is just the sort of hobby I'd expect a civilian like you to waste his time on. Well, you have to practice, of course, but there are some simple things to start with. Like this famous one, for example. Swift samurai sword swipe silently sideways. Ah, yes, even a decrepit tongue in ailing frame such as mine can find its way around that one. I've no doubt. It's just a bit of fun, really. I can't imagine anyone would struggle to say it. Isn't that right, Kazuma? Ryunosuke knows his weakness. Swift swam wide swag. A blabbering mess by word 2. It's not just the samurai. Every good soldier needs to be able to handle a sword. That's why I've been busy teaching Naito the finer points of swordplay. None of this wordplay nonsense, Private. Come to think of it, not long after that, we started to attend lectures together, didn't we? And we got into that debate about family values at the Sukiyaki place on campus. Do you remember? Yes, your arguments was full of jokes and puns and wordplay as usual. I remember it well. Oh, was it? In any case, I swore that I would never let myself forget the shock you gave me back then. And as a symbol of how seriously I took that oath, I decided to wear this. My red Hachimaki headband. What? Sorry, Kazuma? Yes. You've lost me there, I'm afraid. I don't see the link. What does your red headband have to do with your oath? Because it will always remind me of that smug look on your face as you uttered those tantalizing words. What words? You mean another tongue twister? I practiced and practiced until my tongue bled, but in the end, I mastered it. Mastered what? Well, I think it's time you heard this, actually. Listen carefully now. Here goes. Red headband, lead headband, dead headband. There. Word perfect. See? Oh my god. Why are they playing his theme now? What am I doing? I'd actually been meaning to ask you about that. About the story behind your headband, I mean. Well, now you know, so that I'll never forget the shock and humiliation of that day. That's why I wear this red headband every single day without fail. Well, I don't know exactly how much of a shock you think you had back then, but can't be more than the shock you've just given me now. What do you mean? Well, I'm sorry to have to tell you, but the tongue twister I said didn't go the way you seem to have remembered it. Huh? It's just as famous as Swift Samurai Sword, so I can't believe you don't know it, really. It goes, red bread pan, lead bread pan, dead bread man. Wait, what? Bed bread pan? Oh! It seems I've knocked some wind out of that headband of yours. It's not too late, Private. You can always start wearing red bread pan on your head instead. Your youthful vigor is manifest, young man. Your cheeks are glowing redder than your Hachimaki. Why do so many words have to be so similar? So, looking forward to Great Britain then, where you'll have to deliver speeches in court. In English. I suppose I can always sell shell sea cells on the seashore. My baby. Oh my god. These are all stupid and I love them. Probably gonna watch the rest some other time. Maybe I'll like do a teaser where I just do the other 7 or something. I don't know. But yeah, I think I'm gonna think that's yeah, we're gonna conclude today's proceedings. Gotta end on Phoenix and Ryu. I don't know which one is Phoenix and Ryu. Like, they don't... Oh, it's in the gallery? Good old Eggert Benedict. Oh, moving pictures, please. Special Trial 2017. Is this the one? Makuhari Messi. I hereby call this court to order for this retrospective of 15 years of Ace Attorney. Oh, it's got voice acting on its own. I don't know.
準備以前にどこですかここは
大審院大日本帝国の法廷です。いわゆる明治時代の
いわゆる
It's like a long time ago, right?
それってもしかしてご先祖様とかいるのかも。
もっと驚こうよ迷いちゃん。
どうやら時空がねじれたようです。
Some sort of time warp has taken place.
あまり気にしないことです。それでは検察側はいかがですかな。準備の方は。
なんというか僕弁護士なのですけど。
今日はいろいろな都合で。
Circumstances dictate that for today you shall stand for the prosecution. Oh my god.
何やら大人の都合のほのかな香りがいたしますね。
失礼ですけど、検事さん。あなたはどなたですか？妙に親近感があるような。確かに僕も同じことを考えていました。なんというか、とても他人とは思えないというか。
それではせっかくなのでお互い自己紹介を願いましょうか。
僕は弁護士のなるほどゆうのすけであります。
なるほど。
Oh, I thought you might share a surname or something.
お兄様では何しろギザギザが多いですから。
That same spikiness.
生き別れの兄にはあいにく覚えがありません。聞いたことがあるぞ。僕の先祖に龍之介という名前の弁護士がいるって。
じゃあ おじいさんは。
僕のご先祖様？
今さりげなくおじいさん呼ばわりでございましたね。
I think she just called you a grandpa.
妙に
I
老け
suddenly
込んだ
feel
気
very
分で
old.
す。
やっぱりそういうことだったんだ。お隣のあなたは
You must be one of my
私の
ancestors.
ご先祖様なんですね。おしとやかで凛としてて、まさに理想のご先祖様。子孫の綾坂迷いです。
私は法務女子の御言葉すさとでございますが。
Eh?
完全に
Other words, total stranger.
なんだろう、この強烈ながっかり感。
なんだか申し訳ございません。
せっかくですから、この際綾里家の先祖になってください。
綾里すさと。
Ayasato Susato.
は良いかと存じますが。
人類史上かつてない不条理なお願いをされましたね、スサトさん。
語呂はいいのにな。綾里すさと。
本日は逆転裁判15周年の1年間を振り返るものとします。
15周年ですか？
ええ、2001年初代逆転裁判が誕生。それを記念して
20 years ago to this day.
いろいろやってきましたね。
そうそう、今年の1月にはでっかいイベントをやったり、15周年特別法廷、あれは楽しかったよね。
ああ、15年
Very fitting that I'm watching this very thing today of all days. Yeah, couldn't have timed it better. Hold it.
一言よろしいでしょうか。
何ですか？
時の重さをかみしめる記念であるのならば、まずなるほど様の生誕100年以上こそ祝うべきではございませんか。
100年以上？
やめましょう、佐藤さん。
All this impressiveness just
時
makes
が
me
重
feel
すぎて
impressively old.
床が抜けます。
いやはや、まさに人生の先輩。ありがたや、ありがたや。
拝まれてしまいましたね。
気軽に明治を振り回す
Yeah,
のは控えた方が
early
良さ
judge
そうで
was
す。
a total
そ
basket
れに
case.
去年は舞台をやったり、ついにテレビアニメにもなったりね。いやー、私たちも毎週お楽しみだったよね。
待った！
テレビ？
アニメ？
一体何のことか。一から説明してもらおうじゃありませんか。
Oh my god. So
100
dumb.
年の壁は分厚いみたいだな。やっぱり。
あと今年はあれもありましたね。オーケストラコンサート。なんと9年ぶりだったそうです。
9年分の感動があったよね。私泣いちゃったもん。
待った！
オーケストラ？
コンサート？
But those things existed.
ああ、交響楽団の
Western
演奏
instrumental
会で
group
すか。
performance.
それなら
Yes.
先祖でもわかりますね。
ベートーベン様、モーツァルト様、バッハ様。ああ、素敵でございま
Fuck.
全く読めないけど。
I never heard that last one, but sure, you get the idea.
この頃の何でも漢字で書いちまえって風潮、何だったんだろうね。
Exactly.
確かにね。シェイクスピアがサオーだっけ？
じゃあ、なるほどくんはさしずめ、なるおだね。
なるほど。
沖縄はやめようか。こっちも老け込んだ気分になるよ。
そしてつい先日、8月3日のことでしたね。大日本帝国国民待望の大逆転裁判2、ついに発売。
ありがとうございます。
いやー、僕たちもしっかり遊ばせてもらい
What
ま
a
した。
story. Yeah, absolutely. So moving. I was blown away. Maya, stop stealing my
何
words.
しろ。すべての謎が今。
There were a lot of loose ends that needed tying up. They knew. They knew. They freaking knew.
どうかしましたか？
You just touched
その
her.
一言が
Oh my god.
この数年強烈な重圧だったもので。
ご先祖様の方にもいろいろあったのでございます。
何しろ全てはご先祖から始まったわけです。いやはや、ありがたやありがたや。意義あり。
お言葉ですが、裁判長のただいまの発言は完全に矛盾しています。
なんですと？どういうことですか？
実はさっきからずっと気になっていたんですけど、ご先祖様ある種
It's very
やけ
smooth.
に
A
滑
little
らか
too
に動い
smooth,
て
I
ますよ
think.
ね。あれ、そうかな。ほら、それです。
確かに。なるほどくん、机を叩くのにパカパカと絵が2コマしかないよ。
Oh god, they're calling out the animation.
意義ありはどんな感じですか？
意義あり。意義あり。
さすがにそれは嘘でしょう。とにかくこのパカパカっぷり、僕としてはこっち
We're the ancestors here. Oh
その気分
my
です。
god.
反論できない。
つまりお互いが先祖であり、そして元祖であると。それは時空がねじれるのも無理はございませんね。
それではそろそろ閉廷の時間です。
それで僕たちどうやって帰ればいいのですか？
Just wait long enough. You'll get there eventually.
明治の街をブラブラして時間を潰すというのはいかがでしょう？
え？
大帝都東京は華やかですから、100年なんてあっという間ですよ。どうやら何としてもあの一言を僕に言わせる流れみたいですね。
おお、先祖と元祖、夢の共演だね。
それでは逆転裁判のさらなる発展を祈って皆様もご一緒に。せーの。
意義あり。マユンちゃん止めて。時代は回る。きっとそういうことですね。
They turn about sisters at the end. So
そ
good.
れではまたどこかでお会いいたしましょう。
Wow, that was cute. But okay, yeah, definitely ending it here for real this time. Thank you all so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you enjoyed these games. They were incredible. This was the best Ace Attorney game yet. And I'm counting them both games as a single game because they're a single game. That's what I'm calling it, and that's what we're calling it, so we're dealing with it. But yeah, if you guys really liked it, want to help support the channel some more, go ahead and follow me on Twitch, like, comment, subscribe on YouTube whenever the videos get over there. It might take a while because Twitch is being dumb, but that's just Twitch for you. But yeah, if you want to help support the channel in other ways, feel free to check out the donation link down below, or my Patreon account, or my AO3 page if you want to check out some of my fanfictions. But yeah, all that said, have a good day, everyone. And we'll see you next time for whatever I happen to be streaming next. I don't know what that will be, but you'll find out when I do, I'm sure. So, until next time, this has been Logic Blade, and thank you all.